Blue supporters, battlers, how are we doing tonight?
Let's go.
Thank you for tuning in as we come to you live. That's right, the New South Wales Blues Stream Team coming to you live from the Caxton Street Brewery this beautiful night. What a star-studded lineup. Before we get underway, let's get the introductions out of the road. Let's go from our wingers all the way through to the other side. Kicking it off, our man. Introduce yourself, big dog.
G'day, team. As the winger, the least paid player on the roster. We know it, but we're all about the glory. G'day, everyone. Nick Davis, ground announcer for the Brisbane Broncos, and proud New South Welshman, 2478 Lennox Head. That is my hometown. That's where I love. And boys, I am pumped to be part of this night. A decider, how good?
Absolutely, brother. All right, next up.
Sure, Retro here from Retro Rugby League. Please buy my jerseys. But yeah, look, I'm pumped. I'm actually, I say I'm pumped. I'm actually terrified. This is one of those games that has got Queensland ambush written all over it. So I'm clenching my cheeks, riding this one home. But Hainsey, what about you?
Yeah, g'day, Hainsey here. Good start.
No, that's the calm we need.
Also, probably you've overtaken me, the most popular out of the followers, Roosters fan, number 2, maybe. But Roosters content creator, go to every Roosters home game, game day vlogs, TikToks, all that kind of stuff. But good to be here, back on another United podcast live stream. Good to be here. Thanks for the obviously shout out to Caxton Street Brewing Co. for hosting the event. Thank you, Lincoln, for having me on. And, ready to rip in, hopefully, a famous Blues win. Look, I said it during the day that it's a, very similar to last year series where, we lost at home in game 1. We went to a neutral venue in Melbourne, got the job done. And then we beat Queensland on their home turf at Suncorp, just down the road last year. Queensland are looking to do the same, where they lost on home soil in game 1. Went to a mutual venue, won game 2, and they're looking to ambush away from home to win the decider. So very similar, which is making me a bit nervous.
Really?
Yep.
I'm not nervous at all.
Wow.
I am not nervous at all. I'm looking forward to an absolute
You did say that
thumping.
game too.
I did say that game too.
Look.
I am saying it again the Knights going against the Storm as well. So forever the optimist. But anyways. But yes, no need for me to introduce myself. You guys know who all I am.
Do it.
Who are you?
Oh, who am I? What am I is probably the better question. No, for those who've been living under a gigantic rock or have somehow stumbled on this channel, I am Link, banner of the United podcast, bringing you everything Newcastle Knights. And what a tumultuous up and down season it's been for us Knight supporters. But tonight, we're going to go home winners. That's right. We are coming home winners. The New South Wales Blues Stream Team has been assembled. And we're going to watch an emphatic New South Wales Blues victory tonight back home in Sydney. They haven't got Ashley Klein to give them fucking leg ups this time around. All right, we're back home. None of these bullshit penalties. That stops. And Zach Lomax, he's actually going to start kicking some bloody balls, boys. So, but yes, moving along, the big dog. Who we got?
Yeah, hello everyone. Joel, League of Inches here. Firstly, a huge thank you to, obviously, the Caxton Street Brewing Company for hosting
Massive
the
shout
event.
out to them. Massive shout out.
Everything kicks off at 7 o'clock here for the event itself. So very keen to rip into some wings. A fair few drinks will be had as well. There'll be probably a lot more Queensland fans in the audience to drown us out a little bit, but we're ready for the challenge, no doubt about that. Another quick one to watch your team. We've got a big giveaway to come just before kickoff. So a couple of really exciting giveaways there for both sets of fans. So I'll go around and do that. But I'm pumped to be here, boys. I am very nervous. I'm very cautious of what Queensland are playing with. They're playing off some emotion. They've got Josh Papali'i, who terrifies the absolute, what out of me at the moment.
Shibasaki.
They got Shibasaki, and you know what? I'm worried about the guy next to me because game 2 he fed me a little bit, so I'm a bit worried about what this one has to show. But anyway, I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Trav. I'm from League of Inches, and I'm the only smart one here. Have a look at these morons. All of them in blue, got no idea, and they all live in Queensland. They know which one's the better state, so they go for the New South Wales Blues, but live up in Queensland. So you're all contradict yourself, morons.
We're just trying to make it a better place. Trev.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we haven't grown a second head yet.
Well, you've lived here long enough, yeah?
Oh, starting to.
He's coming in hot. It's coming hot.
Well, let's ask the Queenslander, mate. How do you feel coming to this? You got some Blue supporters here that of getting nervous as we get closer to kickoff. How are you feeling? Genuine feelings.
I wasn't very keen on game 2. I walked into this venue very worried about game 2, and then we blew out of the water in the first half, and that was very surprising. I did not predict that. I've walked into this game less emotional and less scared. I think some things have happened over the last few days in terms of around Munster, and I reckon that might bring us together. And, we talk around this Queensland spirit, and I think that's kind of one of the things that kind of needed to pop up for us to get about. I think we've picked mostly their best team that I think we can put together with what was being put out there. I really like the Shibasaki pick. I'm walking into this one not confident, but much more related to be here for a good game.
I just need to put it out there that why I have so much hatred towards Shibasaki is Mitchell Pearce's 300th game. He absolutely ruined for us. Haven't got great memories of Germart Shibasaki playing for the Newcastle Knights. So I hope he has the exact same performance he had for us 5 or so years ago for Mitchell Pearce's 300. Ruined it against the West Tigers. We had the game in the bag and he just kept dropping the ball over and over again. Yes, that's why I have my reservations about Germart Shibasaki. So,
Linky, I'm conflicted about him because he has been in incredible form for the Broncos this year. And like any good footy story, you love a career renaissance. And I'm sorry for what happened down at Newcastle. But
thank you.
That's all right. But that's what happened. This journeyman story.
One man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say.
Well, look, it didn't work out from the first time at the Bronx. Came through the under-20s. And then the fact he came back on a train and trial is incredible. But to fill that hole that the Broncos haven't quite had since Herbie left at the end of 2023, back in the centres, he's been magnificent. I've got to say, I love saying his name. So it's going to hurt me tonight. Like, I don't want to see him score because I get genuinely excited every time the man crosses the line. So I want to know. This sucks for me. This really sucks. So, can it be just okay for you tonight? Just okay. Like, everyone on this panel will be happy if Gimmett, the man with the goatee, just has an absolute
They get
game.
Newcastle Knights Shibasaki, not Bronco Shibasaki, I think is what you're trying to say.
It doesn't surprise me that you Newcastle boys are holding on to things from back then because you're still holding on to your coach and he needs
He's come in. He has come in very, very hot. I'm impressed.
It's a quiet confidence.
Jeez, where was that level of attack about a kilometre down the road at Suncorp Stadium about 6 or so weeks ago, pal? Wow, okay. Shots fired. Well, I think it'd be a good time, boys. Let's get some predictions. I want to get a bit of a vibe about who's thinking what. Okay. The lay of the land between the boys. Kicking it off with you, Nick.
Look, I'm going to speak from just my dear blue heart. I think we're good enough to get up and get the job done. I'm seeing maybe 2 tries here. Queensland will come late. Maybe won't come out of the blocks hard. But if Cleary can have, and we'll hopefully get to this a little bit later, origin-defining game, and I don't know, if we can just kick straight. It's a 2-try win for us, but I'm not confident. I believe enough, but I'm not confident. Let's go 22-10.
Okay. All right. Retro, what do you got, mate?
So this is the struggle, right? So on pure mathematics, I think the
money balling.
The Blues win 18-6 or by 18. When you pair up the centre pairings alone, Latrell versus Germart Shibasaki versus Rob Toya, and on the other side, Stephen Crichton versus Germart Shibasaki. Like, it's a total mismatch. How many times have I watched this same movie before?
Yeah.
And that's what scares me. The saving hope from a pure vibes and juju realm, right, is you have all the emotion of the very unfortunate passing of Stephen Munster, Cam Munster's dad, and that is going to fuel up Munster. I'm expecting to see one of his best performances tonight. But he's coming up against a player who doesn't play on emotion, Nathan Cleary, the Iceman. And so that could be the antidote. You're not looking to meet emotion with emotion, but with just cold, hard steel. And I'm thinking if all the pieces click tonight for the Blues and they get in the grind, we see a win, and we see a win big. If Queensland win, it's a 2-point win. But I would think an 18-6, 18-8 scoreline is what I'm predicting to New South Wales.
Okay. All right. Hainsey.
I'm going to go New South Wales 22 points to 12. And I think it'll be a tight game, but I think we'll just get the job over the line. We'll get the match winner in the last maybe 5-10 minutes to get over the line, win our second series in a row. But it is going to be a tough game. You know, we all know the expression Queensland's back against the wall. That's when they're at their best. And, you know, we saw that in game 2 where basically they were spit out, chucked everywhere after game 1, and they pulled off, you know, a really famous win in Perth. But, you know, obviously, and yeah, we obviously very similar to emotion-wise, where Billy Slater was charged up in the lead up to Origin 2, which is obviously different circumstances, but, you know, obviously Cam Munster, you know, emotionally built up ready for this game after some tragic events during the week. So it's, you know, everyone expecting New South Wales to win, but, you know, we've seen it time and time again throughout Origin history that Queensland, this is their bread and butter. And that's why I'm nervous about it, because we've been in this situation before where, you know, we've expected to win the series after winning the first game, and, you know, we just find a way to lose. So it's, yeah, interesting, but I'm still backing the boys to get the job done.
Very good. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty cool, calm and collected, boys. I think going to Perth, you know, won't go into too much about what Ashley Klein's form was going into Perth. But with that said, we were our own worst enemy. What did we complete at, like 50-odd%? Something like that in the first half alone. It was absolutely dreadful. But we scored more tries than the Queenslanders did in that game. It was just, unfortunately, we had someone who just, you know, Zach Lomax, an absolute shocker with the ball. We should have wrapped that up there and then. I'll go back to what we did in Suncorp Stadium. You know, you were there, Hainsey. Yep. I was there. Were you there, Retro? Did you? You boys would have been there.
You were there,
I was there. Yes, I was.
You know, and I felt the same. You know, going to that game, truly, and I'm not trying to beat my chest and talk shit. I felt genuine confidence we were going to get that game. I just never, the fact they didn't kick the Spencer Lenu and all this sort of stuff. I don't know. I just feel like if New South Wales play to their strengths across the park, I feel like we just got the Queenslanders' numbers back home. Yeah, and if Nathan Cleary has, which I reckon Nathan Cleary has the greatest Origin performance of his career tonight. I reckon we're going to see a big win by the Blues. I really do.
We haven't even seen, sorry to jump in here, but we haven't even seen really much of Trell Mitt. Like, when's Trell Mitt going to explode? Given the ball 10 metres out, I want to see Trell Mitt.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Sorry, I just want to put that in there.
No, that's all right.
There's been no pressure on him either, so this is the perfect time.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely. So look, I'm going to go 28-8 to the Blues.
I wish it was like. I hope it's like that. You know,
I
hate being nervous going to the last.
Oh, just hang with me, mate. It's contagious.
But you know, back to what you said in the first game. Like, normally when I hope you guys agree on this one with you know, going obviously living in Brisbane or Queensland, wherever you guys are, going to an Origin game at Suncorp as a Blues fan, you feel intimidated. You feel anxious. You know, if you're going to get out of here alive and. You know, I didn't feel that game one.
It didn't.
Year. Did you?
Absolutely not.
Like, normally, like I remember I didn't go to last year's decider, but 2023 game 2, I went, and I was just felt so intimidated going there. Just, you know, you're getting these dagger eyes. You just had that, you know, nervous feeling about it. But yeah, this year it didn't feel that.
No,
it dropped away. That has really dropped away. The decider last year. Same thing, absolute same thing. Like, this street that we're sitting on right now is not the intimidating gauntlet that it used to be, and maybe that's just the way Origins move. But they've lost something. They've lost something quintessential about their core, and maybe it's a decade of, you know, complacency after the 8 straight, after what we suffered through. They're starting to go. There's a confidence that they exude that we used to carry. And now, that intimidation factor, that want is not coming from them anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nick.
And that plays right into our hands.
Yeah, love it, Nick. Love it, brother. Joel, all right, mate. Lay it on us thick, mate. Tell us from the heart.
I love there's two things here. There's a head and a heart is two different things at the moment, because my heart's saying a Blues victory by 30. The class, we've spoken about
Listen to your heart, mate.
We've spoken about the fact that...
Who sung that great song? Was it Roxette? Listen to your heart?
I thought it was Celine Dion.
Isn't it?
There's been a few remixes of it as well.
I think it's Roxette.
That hasn't helped. So, but look, New South Wales by 30, or with the talent that we've got on the field, we've got someone like Latrell. You've all been speaking about him. He just simply hasn't had that series. I feel like he's been okay. He's set up toe a couple of times, but they're literally just been those sort of bat on which he does in his sleep. That's not him doing what we know Latrell can do at this stage. We're picturing Latrell running over blokes, doing that sort of those couple of tries and things like that, those fens and stuff. He hasn't quite had that series yet. So I've said in the last 2 games, I've really been riding Latrell hard. So maybe I'll go all in on the 3rd game. Might have egg on my face, but it might be another prediction that finally comes off for me. But the head also says Queensland. I said at the start, the Josh Papali'i factor, this is his last game, so he goes to Super League next year, which hasn't really been spoken about. He's here for a reason. They've called him back. We've spoken about the fact that the Blues pack has bashed Queensland basically in both games, and he won't stand for that. He's been very good this year. He's overshadowed a lot by Tarpany in that Raiders side, but I think he's probably had one of his best years to date, and that's saying something because he's been one of the best front rowers of his time. So I'm worried about that. I'm worried about, obviously, the Munster factor, the emotion behind it, and probably no doubt Billy will remind them all that they're Queenslanders for the 50 millionth time. And they'll all sit there remembering they're Queenslanders because they apparently forget every game.
Need to be reminded,
and, they'll come out and be Queenslanders. But I'll lay it on the line. I'll say Blues 24 points to 16. And I'll lay it out there right now. Latrell's going to be goal kicking. I have a feeling Latrell's going to goal kick and he won't miss one.
Okay.
And he's that confident. That last kick he does, he'll do what he did in that reel we seen the other day. He will spin around after kicking it, not even watch it go over the post, and it just sails through.
Just flips off the Queenslanders.
See you later.
I don't know if he's.
So, Joel, a confidence level out of 10, you sounds like you're about a 9 out of 10. You're pretty confident, right?
No.
Oh.
You sound torn. The head and the heart.
I'm trying to look. Nick's first of all stitched me up with my jersey. I feel like I'm a player. I feel like I'm about to run out.
He does.
2025 special.
You look like you can play, Joel. You look like you're ripping and raring.
I'm running out, but I want to believe. I'm here now. Yesterday in the lead up, I was petrified, but I'm here now. The crowd's going to be rolling in. I've got to be passionate. Got to have the tunes cranking in the car on the way, and I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the Blues now. I believe, but there's also that part of me that wants to be that podcast of self. And just say, I know what Queensland
just
have.
lean into
I
it,
know
brother. It's such a beautiful place when you do.
Yeah, let's lean in. Let's just do it.
Fuck yeah,
So,
brother.
hold on. So, you're leaning in, right? You're going to lean in all the way. Can I pose this? And maybe this is a bet that you want to get in on, Trav.
Oh.
If New South Wales win,
Yep.
Trav, being a Queenslander that he is, will drink a beer that is poured down Hainsey's chest off his belly button and out of the hole of his belly button here.
Yes.
But if New South Wales win, if the Queensland win, then it's the other way around. That Joel's got to drink a beer that's poured
Joel's drinking
down
off his
Hainsey's chest.
No, let's bring off his own belly.
Hainsey's come from work though. It's a big day. That's a big day.
Well, it's not a bet without spice. I'm not here.
Exactly.
Salty spice.
Very spicy.
Am I hearing yes or no?
That's a no.
Yeah, I don't think
no.
No.
I'm not agreeing.
It's a
Chat's
no.
lining up behind me saying,
I'm
do it.
Because I'm driving home. Let's not get around drinking games.
Yeah.
I've got to
Okay.
drive.
I give me a lemonade.
Just a water.
Give me a chocolate milk if you like.
No, but that's I'm confident. But yeah, let's just go all in. But I'm keen to hear what Trav has and how he'll downplay this because I feel like deep down he's actually confident tonight. And he's trying to play us off.
The typical
I think
underdog.
he's going, I
Yeah.
think he's confident.
They've just won 8 straight, but we're still the fucking underdog. Bloody trope.
I've got a mortal spine. No, but geez,
Yeah.
we're hard done by.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
all
I
hilarious.
trap.
So now you're all talking trash, but you're all sitting here talking about how nervous you are. You guys are.
I'm not nervous at
These
all,
are
mate.
mind
other
games,
than
Trav.
this, yeah, that's
I'm not
exactly
nervous,
right.
brother.
But you're all doing that so that when you lose, you can all go, yeah, well, this is what we said.
Very well versed in this,
That's,
yes.
yeah, that's right. That's right. You're all super confident going into game 1. You're all super confident going into game 2, and now you go to game 3 at home and look at all the excuses other than you who's got some balls.
Thanks, mate.
He's hard.
I loved it.
He's,
It's just hilarious.
did you have a couple of scotches before you got here or a
No.
couple of rums or something?
No.
I saw him biting his lip as I was talking.
I've been on holiday, so I'm all cool, calm, collected. Look, I'm quietly confident. Yes, absolutely. I think.
Well,
as I said to you before,
hold on. 5 seconds ago, you were having a dig at us for not being all the way confident. Now you're
Oh.
No, but you weren't. None
So
of you
which one
are.
is
You
it?
all you did was talk about how nervous you are
Oh,
and all these
brother.
problems you've got. Other than,
Well, then,
Yeah, thanks, mate.
surely you've
I'm,
given us your
as I
super
said to you,
confident
no,
take.
I'm not super confident because if I look at the list,
Oh,
Okay,
I look at what's
Give
on
it
paper.
a rating out of 10. The confidence meter, mate. Where is it?
7.
7.
Oh, that's
All
not
right.
Queensland like. Billy Moore wouldn't be happy with
Realistic.
that.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm realistic.
All right. Well, tell us, mate. Break us down. You Billy Slater. How do the Queenslanders win? What do they need to do to get this emphatic win? The backs against the wall, all the rest of it.
Oh, they have to score more.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Cool.
Facts.
Great. Thanks for the tuning in, guys.
Yeah.
Well, they've listened to your garbage for the last 20 minutes, and now, yeah.
Oh, stop. No, seriously though.
So, on a serious note, I love the pick of Hammer at fullback. I think the run that he's going to provide is going to be brilliant for us. I like that. And the last game that he played a couple of weeks ago for the Dolphins, he got 4 tries. And those 4 tries were all digging in and about, getting that last little pass. And that's what we missed the first 2 games, the Ponga trying to be a ball player and not being around the ball, whereas Hammer is going to be there. I think there's a really big difference. I think that just turned off. So I think what we're going to have to do too is Carrigan, Papali, and the big boys inside are going to have to somehow stop the forwards. And if we can do that, or not stop, but curtail some of the momentum that Big Payne Haas and those boys are going to provide. And if we can do that, that's where we'll win it, because then that gives Munster his ability to ball play and do what he needs to do with good field position. And then also that gives Dearden that running power that he's got, that he's really good with. So I think I really like where Hammer's going to help in being there and abouts and being that little rabbit ready to go. But I also think it's going to be this game's definitely going to be won and lost in the trenches and with the big boys.
Yeah, you make a good point. That's the one thing, even leading into game 1, even when you had Hammer playing centers, is like the Blues don't really have that out and out speedster. You know what I mean? We haven't got like a Pappy or someone like that where, if the Hammer gets half a sniff, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah, I don't know who we have to try and clean that up. That's a valid point. Like, who would be the quickest bloke in the Blues team?
Lomax? Lomax is underratedly quick.
Potentially.
Yeah, Lomax,
He wouldn't be like Hammer quick, though,
Yeah, a
right?
couple of weeks ago,
Well, no one is.
No one is.
Who is?
Yeah,
Lomax
true.
in the dark,
But
so-
Lomax I think he's really underratedly quick.
Mm.
Stephen
He's
Crichton,
incredibly
is he quick?
agile.
I don't think he's nowhere near Hammer.
No, no.
Like
just don't.
for an outside back, he's probably average, but
Tell you what, obviously, if we ask you this question game 1, Mitchell Moses got a bit of
Yeah, he
kick
does.
in
Yeah, he's fast.
we talked about it, I think, in game 2, that watch along, about him being sneaky quick.
Well, that's what I just said. Like there was a try scored a few weeks ago where I think someone passed Mitch Moses the ball. Lomax went to go with him and he couldn't keep up. Mitch Moses is fast.
Oh, yeah, that was on the King's birthday game.
Yeah, so
When
yeah, I
Lomax intercept
I
past the
would say
Moses, yeah.
I'd say like in a pure running race, I'd say Hammer is the fastest person on the field tonight.
By
And he scares me
some
in
way
breaking
as well.
play.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'd win 100 meters by about 15 meters at this rate.
There wouldn't be many
He's-
games
he's
that he's
quick.
not. But that's his definite advantage. Plus, he's smart and he wants to get around it. He wants to be there in that ball play. And so I think that's a really key. But again, I really think this is the forward trenches.
So what's got you nervous then? What do the Blues have in their arsenal that you feel like when the Blues are shaping up one way or another, you're going, oh, your butt cheeks are like what, you know what I mean? Like if it's going to the left or the right or it's aerial threats or whatever it is, what do you not want to see? What don't you want the Blues to execute well? What do you feel like their strong suit, I guess, in a roundabout way?
I don't want Nathan Cleary to have that game that we've been asking him to have for years. And that's what we all expect. And that's what he does on a week in, week out basis, what he's done to win 4 premierships, right? So I'm hoping that he doesn't have that, but it's going to happen eventually. Is it this week? Is today the time to happen? So that's the one, probably the biggest thing around it that I've got that I'm worried about is does Cleary have that origin-making, career-making game?
Legacy game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's surely like the Trell's got a bit. He's like the sleeping giant a little bit. So if Trell has like a 9 or a 10, 8, 9, 10 out of a 10 game, boy, oh boy, he's a difference maker.
Yeah. The other thing that sort of, and it is right, you are right. The thing that concerns me on top of Cleary is, and obviously what I said before with the 4-pack, is does Toya give in? Like, is it that, is that fine? Like, he's been fantastic defensively the first 2 games and did a really good job, but can it happen again? And what does Shibasaki do? But I'm really keen on the Shibasaki pick. and I've said it in our own podcast around how much I rate him and what he's been able to do.
Is he
this
more
year.
of a defensive pick?
But he is. I think that's what it's for. It's that defensive
Just to shore
pick,
up an edge?
pretty much.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Next to Holmes, which I have a problem, which I don't like him out in the wing, and would much prefer that. So I think that's why. I don't know. I'm not Billy, but that's why I think they've made that pick. But I really like it. I think he's in form. But does Crichton, Latrell, sort of that centre combination give in a big game like this?
And that's the big thing as well, because if we call a spade, New South Wales has been the better team 3 halves out of 4.
Mm.
The series should be wrapped up. And I think everyone watching rugby league knows that and sitting there tonight going, I can't believe we're getting to a decider right now, which then for mine makes Queensland super dangerous because they shouldn't be here right now. The fact that they've been given the chance to, and we've seen it like Retro said earlier, we've seen this so many times before, unfortunately. We've seen how this all happens, and unfortunately we've all lived it now for many, many years. But the confident factor of me and that centre, I think you can't underestimate Crichton. I think his attack has gone to another level this year. I think not many people are talking about it. Everyone always talks about his defence and how good he is defensively, which he is. But I actually think his attack is he's getting early ball with the Bulldogs halves and he's exploiting his opposite position centre time and time again. So if and we're all talking Nathan Cleary and Luai, but really if I was them, I'd be making sure my centres get the earliest of balls many, many times each half. I think that has to be the game plan. Make sure, and look, Shibasaki and Toya might aim up the first couple, but I can guarantee you if we give those players enough early ball, they'll strike once or twice at least. And at the moment, that's probably all we need. Because then you've got other players like we've got Cleary, then we'll step up, do his sort of plays. We've got the middles. Payne Haas has been phenomenal the last 2 games. I think that's where I'm confident in, is our centres have to do something, and I believe they will.
Yeah.
So, Trav, this is partially a question for you, but anyone can chime in. Game 1, and Cooper Cronk said this, Game 1, Queensland's squad was designed to grind out like just an arm wrestle for 70 minutes and try and clinch it in 10, the final 10. That was what the squad was designed for. Yet even so, there was a lot of sideways action very early on in that game. They're trying to push out to an edge and had a bit of success pushing out to those edges. Tonight, picking more defensive style centres, kind of locking down those sides. Is Queensland's attack tonight just through the guts and that's it? Or is it looking side to side? How do you see this playing out? Is it just really we're looking at a 6-4 scoreline to Queensland because they just want to grind out every inch? Or we'll see some flair? And if the flair is there, we know where it's going to finish with the hammers and the like. But how does it get to them? How does that eventuate?
Okay.
Oh, it's the old adage, mate. You got to earn the right to play wide, don't you? You got to do the damage through the middle, compress the middle of the field, put some real pressure there, and then affords the ability to get some space out wide. So I'm sure, casting a little bit of synergy back to the Newcastle Knights. Obviously, we're missing Kalen Palmer and Fletcher Sharp, both key attacking weapons for the Knights. And I feel like when you've got a couple of, you might have the out and out strike, like the Blues are an absolutely stacked, and we've got a plethora of outside backs to pick from. I feel like maybe the game plan is from the Queensland halves is to maybe, as you say, play that power game through the middle, and Josh Papali'i coming in probably leans more into that style of play and try and win that shit in the middle. That if they are going to win, if there's any chance the Queenslanders are going to win, it's going to be dragging us through the mud. I don't think it's going to be like just sheer ad-lib, brilliant football. I think that if there is a way that the Queensland's going to win, it's going to be that way. I just don't feel like they've got the personnel to play that kind of high-level ad-lib type football, so to speak.
What was your score prediction again, Trav?
26-18.
26-18. So that's not. So I would think tonight, if Queensland win, it's scrap and it's grit and it's grind. But that's not what you're predicting. 26-18 is flair.
Yep. Yeah, I think we'll score.
So
yep,
who for you guys to get that? Who would need to be your man of the match, you think? Who would you?
Munster.
Money will be the man?
Yeah. The ball will be all in his hands every set, multiple times. Yeah, no doubt. And to go back to your question, Retro, like what's Xavier Coates known for? Attack, grabbing the high ball, right? What's Valentine Holmes known for? Attack, run, speed. What's Hammer known for? Out and out run, out and out speed, out and out attack. Right, so there's still heaps and heaps of attack. Tino is can attack. Ruben Cotter he's a defensive meathead, so he's definitely going to shore that up. Well, that's what we're hoping for.
Paddy can attack.
Yeah, we can keep
I
going through the list. I think
suppose
we've got that.
that-
Harry Grant is all about attack, right? And that is a really good defensive hooker. So we still have, whilst I think you're right, the mentality is that we're going into this to grind it out and get a win defensively. We've got really good attack. We just got to get to be able to do it and get the field position through, which is where you guys have got to sort of manage that and really own the forwards and own the middle of the field to limit that forward ability and the position on the ground.
I agree with you that the strike is there. I would argue though that it's a very selective strike in that it's a red zone strike. So yes, Xavier Coates is great for attack inside 20, but he's not going to score you a 90-meter try. Hammer will. Val Holmes won't. So it's. I would think if Queensland win, it's a very short scoreline because it's selective. It's grit and grind. You work your way out the field. You take your chance, and you get one try out to Val Holmes or one try out to Xavier Coates or whatever. But I don't see 26 coming for them. Where I can see 90-meter tries coming from Latrell, Stephen Crichton, Nathan Cleary, Jerome Luai. They've got the punch from everywhere.
Lomax.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're underrating Xavier Coates' running game and how good he is in the meters and how far he can get and what he can do. He's not just this high attacking weapon that you're referring to. I also think you're underrating Val Holmes and the fact that he can get a long range try.
Loves an intercept.
Break, though?
Loves an intercept.
Yeah, he does.
I don't think in an
Intercept's a
Origin
different
game,
though,
it's
yeah.
very rare
Yeah.
that we're going to get a breakout 90-meter try. But
To be honest, I'm actually on the other. I actually anticipate Queensland would get more than on 90 metres. We just spoke about speed. They've got the speed, so all it needs for them is that little half a chance, and they've got the players that will literally scoop that ball up and see you later. Unfortunately for New South Wales, we don't have that. We just spoke about the speed. We don't have those players who could scoop the ball up and it's away they go. Because I reckon if one of our outside backs makes that break, Hammer will catch him by the time they score.
Yeah, but Hammer's only one man. So if you have the Latrell break and you got Crichton and everyone else around him, that's something else. I think it's a sway of balance for me. I can't see this playing out stand to be corrected.
No,
But
I agree
see
with
this
that.
playing out with a big Queensland scoreline. I can see it a gritty, hard scoreline with hard-fought wins, territory possession, scrap and grit and grind. But I can't see big flash and flare. Where I can see that from New South Wales.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, there's no one I don't think with a brain between their ears who would think that if New South Wales got everything going their way, they couldn't win this by 50, right?
Oh,
like they've
yeah.
just it's like an American Arsenal, right? But from the flip side, if it's just trenched, dirty, filthy rugby league, Queensland shine.
Can I ask you a question quickly on that?
Yep.
Would your mind frame be different if they named Reece Walsh at number 1 and kept Hammer at centre?
On which
Or on the
note,
wing.
sorry?
In terms of the points, do you think Queensland would score
No.
more points?
No. I actually think they're more dangerous with Hammer. Yep. Because Hammer
Good
is
call.
deep field attack. Like
Yep.
broken play with Hammer terrifies me, even at centre, because he is just a mover, man. Like Reece, he's dynamic, but he is still carrying that leg injury.
Yep.
Where Hammer is unencumbered and he is just ready to move. So
I love that call.
yeah.
What do you
Cool.
reckon?
I agree.
What do you reckon if Hammer got on the blocks, 100-meter sprint? Do you reckon he'd get crack just under 10?
No.
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 No, that's no. Mate, he'd be in the
That's-
Olympics.
he'd be in the
He's
Olympics.
not cracking
He's
that.
not,
Mate, takes
mate, he's
five,
not,
ain't he?
he's not Fletcher Sharp. He's
What
not doing
is
an
that?
8-second
He's
job.
not. That's Olympics.
What do you reckon?
He would
What do
be
you reckon,
probably
12?
He'd be
he'd be a
that's
late
slow.
10, probably early 11s. To be
Okay.
honest with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
mid-tens.
Just made myself
That's
look like a
yeah, no, that's Olympic stuff. He wouldn't be. Yeah, he wouldn't be in the
What's
nines.
his top speed, like 37 Ks?
I can't remember, mate. I got it. That's a stat. We
There's-
spoke off
there's a
air. We're
stat
not
for
going
you, Retro.
stats.
Look, he's also a nearly single man. I wonder how that affects the performance. Let's really.
That's
bring this
right,
on.
he
Let's
is
bring this back
too.
here, guys.
Yes,
So let's
yes.
play this angle here. High profile, split up, not looking good on his end. Does that affect him, or does he go to another level? Discuss.
I'm on Team Chapman. That's what
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going there. I'm not
Very
going
much. Here you go, boys.
there. Wow.
I don't think it affects him at all like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't buy into it. There is a video that apparently has been spoken around that I keep seeing on all the socials. Everyone's trying to chase, but
Yeah, we
uh,
won't. We
I
won't go there.
I don't think it's. I don't even know if that's true. So I don't even really feel like this is going to be.
I'm
Much.
just trying to derail your confidence here. Honestly, that's where I had to go with it.
real Nova
You're
talk.
making such a compelling argument.
That's
I'm
real
going,
Nova talk.
oh, absolutely.
Or the halves battle, boys. Now we've got Jerome Luai's come back, obviously paired up with his halves partner for a long, long time, and Nathan Cleary won premierships together, and then up against Cam Munster, who I think we're all thinking is going to be pretty influential. The new Queensland captain with Tommy Dearden. Where do you see that dynamic? Where do you see? First of all, who's got the upper hand? Which halves pairing do you prefer?
New South Wales.
Yeah, right, Trav. Your silence speaks
As a
well.
pairing, though.
As a pairing, I would. As a pairing, just to go that way, I'd go New South Wales because of the connection of 4 premierships and a lost premiership.
Yeah.
But the way it's been played and where it is at the moment, I'm taking Munster and Dearden. But that's not Queensland heart. That's actually I'm just being a non. I'm trying to.
I'd agree with you there. If you're selecting which one of those 4 halves is the most lethal, it's Cam Munster.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Now, this was my little set.
I'd also go health is a factor there, and where there's obviously lots of talk around Cleary's health and the connection with that. Luai hasn't been in great form this year. Actually, I would say that's an overstatement. I think he's been quite poor most of the year. So I don't know. Going into this, I like the Queensland, but based off that question, just that.
What do you make of the decision? Because I was tiptoeing in. I didn't want to go head first into this. DCE as a Queensland, I'm very curious to know because we all know you guys, the pick and stick trope and your captain. Do you still, given you won game 2, so you would say results reaffirm the decision to drop him and all that sort of stuff. But how does it sit coming into this game? Would you prefer to see Daly in there for a big decider game like this, or you're happy to move on?
No, I'm stoked with what we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I called that before game 2. I got a roast. We'll try to be roasted, but it didn't work because I was adamant that this is.
It worked.
I was very happy with the DCE drop. I didn't think DCE should have even got picked for game 1. I thought Fogarty was the one that should have been picked.
Really, Fogarty.
So that was where I was, and I've said that on our shows.
So what was that based on? What did you see from
Form.
DC?
Most of my team list for both sides, New South Wales and Queensland, have been purely based off form, and I've picked most of it. You can attest to. There's been a couple that I've sort of gone, no, they've got to be there because of experience or because of just nous for Origin, but mostly I've picked my teams based on form. I've been adamant that Teddy should have been your fullback at New South Wales.
Thank you.
So based off form. Obviously, I was adamant that Terrell May should have been picked based off form, and then I think Kula Matangi should have been picked based off form. So I can go through heaps of them.
You took the Manu one's a bit of a. We'll get to that in a second, but yeah.
But yeah, so based off form, and look, the thing that frustrates me about this conversation was that DC got dropped. Oh, sorry, he played game 1 and then came out and blitzed it in the game before they picked the next team for game 2, and everyone's like, that's why you've picked him. I'm like, no, you can't play one game for the year and then go, now I'm getting picked. Like, that doesn't sit with me, and it didn't sit with me, right?
Do you believe that if DCE plays game 2, they don't win?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, because I think Dearden was enormous. The way that how he played and what he did in that first half and his run was just fantastic.
But the sheer weight of possession surely means something. I think DCE, if he plays game 2, all cracks are papered over and all sins are forgiven. I don't even think he was that bad in game 1. I think he's been pretty hard done by. And the other person who'd be sitting there with their head in their hands saying, what have I done, is Bo Fermor.
Oh, 100.
That's the one.
I'm not going to argue with that.
Hopgood back in the squad.
I'll go.
And Bo Fermor is sitting on the bench back in Dolby thinking, what have I
100%.
done?
I agree.
Why was he picked in game 1?
So in game 1, I Fermor was picked. I loved it, but thought he should have started. I thought that switch around should have been Cotter to 13, Fermor into the 11, and Nanai. And I love that combination on the edges with Nanai and Fermor. Game 2, I was dumbfounded when Fermor got dropped. I liked the Capewell pick. I was really happy with that pick, and I thought he was huge in game 2. So he definitely played himself into another jersey. But I didn't like Nanai getting put to the bench. I thought Nanai was one of our best in game one, particularly under the high ball, and I thought he was enormous and thought he should have been picked again. He got picked on the bench, and he's again there. I don't like the Cotter in 11. I think Cotter would be better in the 13.
I agree. In the middle is where Cotter belongs, doesn't he? Like he's a dog, you know. Just let him be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about the dropping this of Mo Fodawaker or Papali'i?
Oh, I don't think there's even an argument for that. I don't
Bro,
think
he was
Like-
his stats out of
Talk-
game one were terrible.
He
Yeah.
hasn't there's not much of a conversation in my opinion around not having Mofo, and I don't think he should have played at all. To be fair, I don't think he's been great much, even in club form, let alone what he did in game 1 and 2. And I'm actually a big fan of Mofo, and I've liked what he's done in the past. So this is not hate on Mofo, but yeah,
He needs to get out of the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
That's what he
the
needs.
Greenbank boy.
There's a
Played
few.
Is he really?
He played my junior club, the Greenbank Raiders. Shout out to the Greenbank
Oh,
Raiders.
that's right. You were
I have
saying that's right.
that jersey.
You haven't
I'd
read
like
that
to- I'd
jersey.
like to buy it. I have that very same jersey.
But also, but the same thing though, like you're changing a forward pack that got the job done in game 2.
But I wouldn't say Mofo did much in that.
Yeah, true. But
And then
like,
you're adding in Pup
talk
Lee,
about
who's in
your famous
seriously
pick and
good form.
stick.
When did Papa last play Origin?
2 years ago?
Yeah,
So was that 23?
22?
Was it?
22, 3 years.
I think it was 22.
23.
Ben Hunt runaway.
Anyone in the
try
crowd
game,
know,
he was
please?
there.
Yeah, that's a stat for your retro as well.
Maybe actually it was the one, that 22 year.
The go
I think
It was
was
22.
I think it was.
There you go. That's time
Yeah.
fly,
That's a
boys.
big, yeah.
See, I don't think that's a contentious pick.
I don't think
dropping
so at all.
I don't think that's really even.
But he did retire from the Origin arena. What made Billy like get the phone call to?
He needed some grunt, but have a look at what he's been doing.
Yeah,
Like he's
that's
been
true.
scoring
He's
tries.
The
he's been
Raiders
getting
sitting on top of
meters,
the ladder,
Raiders
mate.
are
He's
sitting on
been
top of the
enormous
ladder.
for
Like
Raiders
it's a
this year.
no-brainer almost.
I think Billy also appreciates and understands the fact that, like I said earlier, New South Wales have won 3 out of the 4 halves. He would be sitting there going,
Yeah.
I know we haven't been the better team for a majority of this season. We are here, not out of luck, but they've earned their win, but we are here out of who knows what. But he's had to make, like, I originally thought, why would you change a winning team? It felt perplexing. But now the more and more and the closer it gets to this game, I understand that they haven't been the better team in this series. They needed to make some changes to have a chance, I feel like, tonight. It's going to be a full house, majority of that Blues supporters. I'm not going to say Ashley Klein will go onto our side at all because it's the game. It's decided the game has got what they wanted. They get the money and things like that. But I just feel like the Queenslanders did need to make. I know it's easy for us to pile on and go pick and stick. That's what you've been big on. But the changes make sense.
Well, who else?
That's the
Honestly, if
scary
you're not going to
thing.
pick Fodawaker, who is even in conversation?
Corey
It's
Hawes.
Papa.
What about
Hawes.
Corey Hawes?
Well, I'd even argue personally. I'd probably
But
argue
he's
that
not a prop, really. Isn't he more 13?
I'd even say Collins for mine doesn't really deserve to be there at the moment. I don't think Collins has
I've
been
got
good
a lot
this
of chat
I
about Collins.
agree.
So-
Like, and I love Lindsay as a Roosters fan. I love Lindsay, but he hasn't really. Yeah, out of the front rowers this year for the Roosters, the Farhu White's the one that stepped up.
Yep.
And but yeah, Lindsay obviously he's been unlucky. He had a bit of an illness in the first couple of weeks of the season. Did his MCO in round 5 against South, but he hasn't really been unlucky. He's been unlucky this year, but you're right though. But the games that he's been playing for the Roosters this year, he hasn't really been at that 2023 level that we all of a sudden expect of him.
I just think for every argument that we're making for for Josh Papali returning and big game experience and decider winners, all of those arguments also line up for DCE. If DCE wasn't picked in game 1 and game 2 and we're in this predicament, an SOS call went out to DCE, we'd all be saying the exact same thing and lauding all the exploits and things that he's done.
DCE has been
I think
poor
he has
this
been
year.
hard done by.
Oh, yeah, it's been. This,
And yet,
this hurts
we
his-
still want to sign him
Yeah.
as well.
This hurts the legacy of a great player. I hate what they did. And I'll trail on with you. They shouldn't have brought him into the series to start with. They should have just signed off at the end of last year and gone, thank you, but we're going to build in a new direction here. Backs did and right in. And now, you're right, bring Papali'i in and you've got the big game play. You've got someone who's been there, done it, plays into Billy's Queenslander narrative. That works. But, Trevor, I'll put it to you. Like, as a captain, especially as a player who managed to stand up for you in that incredible series, the second coming of Neville's Nobodies, the worst Queensland team ever. He led that team to victory. And believe me, that hurt.
Did you have to bring that up, Nick?
We have to bring up our demons here. We're going to move forward. But this hurts a great player's legacy. in my mind. For
I
me,
think-
cricket-wise, it feels like, eventually when you got rid of like a Ricky Ponting or something like that,
Yeah.
it felt, and that's the thing, it threw you that second game. You had to bring Capewell in. His experience shone through. Probably he makes sense, but you're right. DCE just sitting on the sidelines now. Not to say they won't bring him back in another year, but it felt like the most un-Queensland thing to happen. And for that reason, I loved it.
just quickly, they won't bring him back now. He's done. They'll build with Munster and Dean into the future. So
Hopefully, Sam Walker next year.
and potentially Sam Walker's in the background as well. So
People forget about that, obviously, with his ACL, but like now he's back this week. But he's been always in that conversation to be the next after TCE. Like,
can I just also say this Queensland talk's making me sick? Can we switch this over to the Blues?
yeah, I've got.
We
Happily,
lost
mate.
game. Just quickly, we
Enough
lost game
pandering
two.
to this bloke.
We lost.
We're gonna make it fair. We're gonna make it fair.
We lost game. And we were on enemy territory, so we've got to be careful what we say. We know we've got to get back into the crowd shortly. But sorry, Trav.
I think you're really harsh on DC and his legacy, being that he didn't get picked for Origin this year and his legacy's been ruined, because that's what you said.
Yeah.
And I think that's really harsh. I think, unfortunately, DCE laid his own bed with his poor decision to tell the club that he was leaving in round 3. And I think that form then predicated what happened for the rest of the year. I think then he went into Origin, and whilst you might be saying that he wasn't too bad in game 1, there was clear need for change. And that was a big change that needed to be made. And it was a big ballsy move. And probably, we can argue, one of the biggest moves in Origin history in terms of a team selection. And based on that, we're still talking about it now, just before game 3. I don't think his legacy has been ruined. And I think what he did by leading that series has definitely implanted that his legacy is enormous. He's got premiership. He's been fantastic. It was great last year, but his form this year is not.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I never want to see a champion of the game get ruined by outside forces, because I think we can all say that he's been sensational. And this, I did feel for him. I really felt for him in this case. His forwards let him down in the first game, and he was on a hiding to nothing there. As you said, once these narratives start snowballing, as you said, from round 3 onwards, this is what can happen. This is the weird influence through this Origin period. All of a sudden, these tiny little things that you don't think matter really come to the fore, and we start thinking about that game 10 weeks ago. All of a sudden, it influences every decision made, and hopefully not how we view the career of one of the champions of the game.
Well, I guess when it comes to his legacy, the final chapter for DCE, I guess, is like, who's he backflip on next, boys?
Please. Well, we're going to backflip on him,
Retirement.
hopefully. That'd be nice. But I've got a question, boys, about coming through tonight. Obviously, it was talked about during the week that the Laurie Daly has scrapped the walk.
Oh,
On the
Yes.
Centre of Excellence. What are we thinking of this?
Dude, I learned that this walk apparently is like 400 meters long and takes like 4
Yeah,
minutes.
it's a long one.
Has
It
anyone,
is a fucking.
has
it's-
anyone been to a core stadium in
I
the
have not.
last couple of years or so?
No.
So
Not since the 2000 Olympics.
I don't know. When you say 400 meters, I was
It's-
expecting
bro,
to say
it's huge.
400 kilometers.
it is.
No.
It is a
400
long.
meters
It's a
doesn't
bit of a
sound that
walk.
much.
It's a
Well,
bit
they were
of a
saying it
walk.
takes a long. It's like a long time.
I
It is.
did hear though just this morning. I was listening to something.
It's a
and,
7-minute walk, I believe.
And Michael Maguire was thinking, was it?
Yes.
Was it game 2 last year that
Yep.
happened? Game 1, sorry, last year was Suoli came out and took Reece
Yeah.
Walsh's head off. Whether that G'd him up too much. I've never heard that being an issue before. Boys being too G'd up for an Origin game, but
7-minute walk.
Yeah.
7 minutes to walk 400 meters.
7-minute walk
Like, are you
something like
a
that. Through the
snail?
tunnel, and it's also nostalgic too. It's the same tunnel that Kathy Freeman walked out for the Sydney 2000.
Oh,
Isn't it?
there you
Isn't
go.
it? It's
Did not
fully
know that.
covered though.
It is.
Yeah,
so
it's
I mean,
underground
not
most
like-
It's underground.
It's not-
Underground. So you've got
cold.
obviously from the start of the Centre of Excellence, and then you go through the stairs, down the tunnel for the Hall of Fame. That
Right, when you got
all
400
famous-
meters of Tommy Rodonicus, Bedsy, Joey,
Steve Mortimer.
Steve Mortimer,
Freddie.
Freddie,
Boy Corden
mate,
was on
it
there.
would
Jacked
it
up.
would it would take me
Nathan Merritt,
7.
Greg
It would
Bird.
take me 7 hours to walk through that tunnel.
I'd stop and get photos and everything.
Absolutely.
But it felt like. What do you guys think of it though? How beforehand, what it was like? Obviously, we go to the Centre of Excellence. You've got the training field that's all covered off. No, only the drones from Channel 9 get to see what we're doing. Feel like it's a better preparation on before the game. You're away from the outside noise from the stadium, and then you walk, on your own as a group, walk into the ground, and then when you get closer into the stadium, you see the sea of blue, walk running out on, into a packed crowd. Like, do you reckon it worked?
I've heard that apparently a part of it, what was happening, they actually asked Cleary and Yo about it, and they had a bit of a say. They actually suggested to scrap it this year because apparently it takes into their the build-up. They've got to get ready a bit earlier. They've got to then go out and it just apparently it mucks up for us guys that don't play footy. It seems a bit crazy. It seems a bit silly to say that, but apparently that has a bit to do with it. It affected. They felt like they're built into the game last year, and who knows? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the nostalgic factor of it is amazing, and I think we all would agree, being fans, that we would love to do that walk every single time for an Origin, and we'd be ready to run through a brick wall. But I guess professional athletes and how they are and how specific they are with how they go about things these days, all that little bit helps. And I guess it's a decider on home turf. They want to make sure they're going out on that field feeling 100%. And if that's what they feel like it's going to take, then I'm all for it.
So there's a couple of things. One, I reckon the TV networks also have a bit to do with this because they control when those teams come out, and a team walking 400 metres is not good for broadcast. That's why the kickoff will be at like 8:63 tonight because, Jesus Christ, it is incredible how... And they know they've got a captive market tonight. They can push that back as long as they want.
They're waiting for us to get off there. That's
exactly right.
So.
Yeah, damn straight. But the other thing, though, is, and this is where we're currently sitting when it comes to Origin. I'm glad to everyone who's turned up here tonight. That's what I love about this time of year is the pageantry and how we buy into what is the best sporting contest in the country. But if we start losing little things like that, yes, we're long gone now is the era of, people getting set on fire in Caxton Street and the bus.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Absolutely bring it back. We were just saying earlier that we don't feel intimidated here.
We're setting Hainsey on fire at half time.
That's why we feel we can do this. That's why we're hosting a show like this right there in Heartland. But if we keep yes, it's a professional era. Absolutely, it's what makes the game amazing. But we're getting further and further away from what Origin used to be. That's not a bad thing, but there are no fights anymore. We know that, and I know a lot of people tuned in because that's what they wanted. Nowadays, we risk maybe becoming far too professional and taking away from what this really means, which is to the fans. And okay, I'm married in North Queensland. I've learnt more about what the Queenslanders care about, and I hate that I'm starting to come around to their cause. I still hate them, but I understand them. But we keep little things like this keep going. We start to lose the essence of this, and then it just becomes this sterile sporting contest. So,
but to be fair, this tradition has only existed, 2-3 years
no,
tops?
That's tradition.
2019.
And there is no real Queensland equivalent. It's not like they're running from, jumping out of the brown snake to go down to Caxton Street.
Imagine they did that. They had their dressing rooms underneath the Caxton Hotel, and they under the tunnel.
Might not make it. I don't think they'd come out. I think they'd get too
I don't know if you
comfortable.
guys have seen much of the AFL, but the Swans have been doing.
Yeah, they do it well.
A march from their headquarters, which is in the entertainment quarter in Moore Park, and they do a team walk from their headquarters into the SCG before their warm up. So, and obviously it's a nostalgic thing, and it's get amongst the crowd, get a taste for it, and all that, And obviously, as well, I'm not sure they're doing it tonight, but New South Wales used to do a team walk from the Pullman Hotel. Is it Pullman or?
Yeah.
That's right, Pullman,
or Novotel. Anyway, the big hotel in Olympic Park, and they would walk to to the Centre of Excellence or a core stadium to be amongst the people, amongst the faithful. Does that help, or is that a bit of a distraction?
I mean, look, honestly, it's both, and you're right. As you spoke to, if it's certain players, it doesn't work for it. Yes, this is a high-performance environment, and you have to get the best out of these players. But again, this means so much more to the fans. At the end of the day, and maybe Jerome Luai captured a couple of years ago pretty well, not in the way we hope to hear, but deep down, all of us have to go back to work tomorrow. But this is the thing that either gets us through. Whatever happens tonight will either make the Queenslanders weak for the next week, or ruin a New South Welshman's day tomorrow, and that's about it. So I don't know. All these again, we've lost a former era. We've maybe forgotten why these two teams and why these two states actually hate each other, and it's actually real. The more you learn about it, it actually makes sense. But I find this stuff important, and you're right. The pageantry of it gets fans involved. It makes for a better TV product. We can keep building this up, or we just crush down into a more just robotic footy sort of sportsman's environment. I don't know. I don't know what's better, but I know what I barrack for.
It's our biggest showpiece of the year. And look at it tonight. We got an Origin decider at a core stadium, 80,000 fans. Everyone talks about how crap a core stadium is. when it's empty, it's full tonight. This is when it's a core
Sold
stadium.
out 2 weeks in advance, mate. So.
When have we ever seen that at a core stadium?
Yeah.
When have we ever seen an Origin get sold out 2 weeks in advance at a core? Normally, they sell out the day before the game, which is also great, but 82,500 fans at a core stadium, or majority of it in New South Wales fans. And then obviously, even here tonight, we got Queenslanders far and wide, assembling on Caxton Street to support the Maroons.
I also think part of that is to do with the build-up. I think this has probably been the quietest build-up
It has.
series
Yep.
I can remember. And I think that part of that has to do with the players, even the coaches. I'll throw Billy into it because he's done nothing this week.
Do you know
He
what it
hasn't
is?
been part of it. We've got, and I'll throw some of the Blues players in as well. We've got Spencer and Latrell on media band still. This is the showpiece event of our calendar year. To not be promoting it, I think has really impacted this year's series. And we're now seeing it. Like, there's still nothing. Like, even this morning, there was really not that. I woke up and just like, oh, yeah, it's Origin tonight.
I think,
got some
though,
things.
honestly, Billy fucked around last year and he found out.
He did.
I think
Yes,
Madge,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, Billy was caught with his bloody pants down last year. There's a couple of times
It was
where
complacency.
the
wasn't
glass
it?
half, what was it?
It was-
Glass houses.
Yeah, glass houses, and we are the Queens. Mate, he was rattled.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I don't think Loz even. I can't even recall during his previous tenure him ever really being that kind of coach that niggled or what I mean, had a bit of a stab. He doesn't seem that kind of
Yeah,
guy.
but he didn't do it, but Gal did.
Oh no, that's what I'm
But-
saying. Though.
But at that point in time, the media understood that it's like WWE, right? You got to have villains and heroes and heels and all
Gal
that
knew
kind of
his
stuff.
role.
And at this point, we're kind of like, oh, we're all for heroes, but then we just like drag down the heel or the villain, not to like with the level where it's supposed to be, where you're supposed to kind of like get around it, but like to everything's a comment that hurts you and it's your mental health. No. Let's just get back to when calling each other grubs and whatever's okay, and just instead of fighting, like it's just all.
I'll tell you a great story. So I somehow or another got dragged into a Melbourne Storm corporate box event, double header at Suncorp. I think it was about 2018. Anyways, I was there with Mick Crocker, and I said the very same thing. I said, "Why don't you ever see, the Broncos are playing Canberra, and Canberra come out. Hudson Young's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking tear Paddy's head off this week. Shit talk." He's like, I tell you why. So he said, when I was at the Roosters, Ricky Stewart, he didn't like it at all. And he goes, fucking don't talk any shit, boys. And the moment he said what happened was, it was a particular game he pointed out, and he goes, Ricky fucking ran down to the newspaper, bought like 20 copies of this paper and highlighted this quote from this player and said, fuck, look what they're talking shit, boys. He goes, we woke up from our motel rooms with all these papers underneath our desks with the quotes highlighted. And he goes, no coach just wants to give any opposition, even if it's a minuscule amount of motivation, something. You know what I mean? Look what happened casting back again to the Newcastle Knights. We went on that 10-game win streak. And do you remember it all began when Christian Welch, we got beaten by that depleted Panthers outfit, and Christian Welch turned to Craig Bellamy nonchalantly and goes,
remember.
How the fuck did they lose to the Panthers? Right.
How did they lose?
Exactly. So it's those little things, it might seem very minuscule, but I reckon they would have huge impacts mentally to players. They don't want to give them any advantage at all.
Aaron Woods
This is
game
old
too.
school- This is old school versus new school. And this is like, the Aaron Woods thing felt, I thought this, I agree with all of you. This was the most quiet Origin series we'd had building up to it. Game one was just done like that. That's why the Aaron Woods thing felt so weird, because it felt manufactured. It was forced. I've worked in radio long enough. I know exactly when they go, we've got to get something out there. We've got to fire this series up. And Billy's response probably went too far, was weird, but it did catch him on the hop. And let's face it, we all tuned into that game too a little bit harder, because at least something had happened. Now, where we're currently sitting, again, 82,000 in a core stadium tonight. We have a decider. We're coming up to another NRL TV rights deal, and there are some big buyers coming in. The NRL has 4 grand finals a year, hopefully 4 if you can get a decider. So you need the best, for the sake of the game, growth, and player wages, you need to get the biggest, brightest, loudest entertainment product out there. We've got that old school approach, very Ricky Stewart, and this is exactly how they roll. You don't want to give them any motivation. We probably all grew up playing footy the exact way. You were never loud, you were never brash, you never wanted to give the opposition anything. But now, as we go forward into this, incredibly accessible world of sport, and this game is sensational. It really is, and the rivalry, as we have here tonight, is as real as you can get. It actually means something. But we need to have that. We need to have the players like Paul Gallen, like Jerome Luai, who play that pantomime villain because they know their role, because they know they're going to get eyeballs. They know they're going to fire up the opposition support base.
What was it? Bradman Best. Bradman Best. I hate Queensland.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Well, don't forget the whole thing around Queensland, right? The Queenslander call, and whoever calls out Queensland in the scrum first is going to get punched on. That was a story that was leaked and it was used for motivation on both sides. It's not a new school prospect. It's an old school thing that needs to be brought back. Understanding that you can be a villain, you cop the criticism, you use it as motivation, and you push through anyway. Let's say that New South Wales gives Queensland 10-ton ammunition. They come out the side and they win the other way. What does your motivation mean then? Prove it to them that it doesn't mean anything and you can say whatever you like. That's villainy. That sells tickets. Boxer's been doing it since day one. UFC's been doing it since day one. It's the journalists on the other side who then retreat and want to flip it into a mental health story or something like that and depart from the narrative that poisons the well. Get back to just being savage and ripping and tearing. That's what the people want.
I'll run for a brick wall. Let's go.
All right. Well, guys, we are going to leave the stage very, very shortly. Huge shout out again to the Caxton Street Brewing Company. This has been absolutely sensational. We can't wait to do more of
We're gonna
these.
get some wings.
The fact that they've got 5 New South Welshmen on the stage in front of you Queenslanders is absolutely phenomenal.
There's a few blue in the crowd as well.
Is there? I've got my...
There's one
oh,
over
yeah,
there.
there we go.
Good on you.
Hey,
Yeah,
on
thank
your
you.
love. There you go. Good stuff. So, yes, we'll be coming back here after the New South Wales Blues absolutely pumped the Queenslanders in, a couple of hours' time. I can't guarantee Trav's going to be here. He might be at Milton Station by that point. I'm only kidding, Trav.
Just quick
I'm
before
only
we go,
kidding, brother.
can we get player of the series predictions?
Of the
Please.
series or
Yes.
tonight?
Player of the series.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right.
We can do
Nick.
both if you want. Man of the match and then player of the series.
Okay. Nick.
We'll win and they'll still give it to Munster.
I feel
Like they gave it to Billy a few years ago.
Oh, that was bullshit.
Yeah,
2018.
yeah. Touch on nerve there, Hainsey, but 100%. It'll be Munster. No
I
matter
think
no matter what the result is tonight, I'll give it to Cam Munster.
I think it was more annoyed because James Tedesco should have got it 2018. That's why I'm more annoyed. Was like, as a Roosters fan, it was like, he should have got it. But anyway, yeah, I hope not. Hope not.
This will please Winston Neville. I say Stephen Crichton.
Ooh, he was unlucky last game. Of game one, I should say. Game one.
Two
Sorry,
people
game
on
one.
an edge in game one.
He was
I think
very good.
He's the man.
Bit of a surprise one, bit of a smoky. I'm going Brian Toto.
Go on,
Yeah.
Brian.
He scored 4 tries?
Yeah. What's he average? Like 600 meters a game, whatever it is?
He only scored the 1 in game 1 and Lomax scored 2? Or was it 2 for Lomax?
I think that's right.
Or
2 for
Toto?
Lomax, 1 for Toto.
Recognition
He
for
scored
wingers.
4 tries in the series. He's top try scorer of the series. I reckon he's a smoky for the Wally Lewis. Lewis Johns, as I like, as everyone
Smart.
in New South Wales.
I like it.
Man of the match though, captain's knock. Zay, this is his time.
Really?
Legacy game.
All right. I like your shout with man of the series. I love Brian Toto. Lock him in. I think a winger deserves it this year.
And back on that as well, it's not just his tries, it's his meters.
Yeah, bro.
Post contact meters.
Yeah.
You don't see that with
Mate,
wingers,
he's that he falls into that category like Payne has. You just expect it every week. You don't really see how good he is. He's just elite numbers.
Oh, I know. I'm as a Roosters fan. I think that's 3 now. That's 3. I was only allowed to mention the Roosters 3 times from
Proud of you.
Retro, but it's similar to Daniel Tupou. Very underrated with their other stuff. Like we talk about Alex Johnson with these try scorers, but like Tupou, he's got 170 tries, but he runs for over 200 meters a game.
Yeah.
And his post contact meters. Same with Toto. They're the 2 best in the game at it.
All right. Well, I'm going to go my man of the match. I'm going to go Cleary. I usually lock in Liam Martin. He's a fucking dog. I love Liam Martin. But I think the Iceman cometh tonight. I think this is the time. The stars have aligned. The rugby league gods are going to put this man on a stage tonight. He is going to perform. So lock in Nathan Cleary for man of the match.
And he needs a big game too.
He does need a big game.
Drive
Needs a
up that
very big
Wallabies contract.
I'm locking in Cleary for man of the match as well. I think he steps up and has that game that everyone has been anticipating for a number of years now. I can't believe I've been giving this guy I feel like a free pass. I'm going Payne Haas as player of the series. I think he has been a monster.
Yeah, he falls under the same
Absolute
curse as
monster.
Toto.
I reckon he'll be
I'm
favourite
locking
to
in
win it
Payne
if
Haas
this one
for
wins the
my
series.
man of the series.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
I've got Munster man of the match tonight, which means I would say Queensland win, which means I think Munster gets man of the series.
double.
However,
A double.
if New South Wales win, I think the shout out for Tyler. I think Tyler's been the best player for New South Wales the first 2 games
But
easily.
will they give it to a
So
winger,
I
though?
think-
That's the thing. Will they give it to a winger?
Yes, because it's Tyler and he's been a monster.
Didn't Toto win the Fittler
We,
medal a couple of years ago? Over Stephen Crichton? I
can't
believe he did.
remember.
23? No, or 21?
Yeah, I can't remember.
'Cause
Obviously, we've got to get out of here. We have got to get set up
We're
on
gonna-
the big screen.
I tell you what, I've got
We're
to.
hungry. Just quickly, for those that are in the crowd, we will have a giveaway, a few giveaways. So I'll be walking around with a few raffle tickets, things like that. I got a couple of really good prizes from What's Your Team, New South Wales and the Queensland pack, and a couple of League of Inches merch packs as well. So a few little giveaways we'll do. Probably at halftime we'll draw it, but we'll go around now and get all that done. So yeah.
Now, Nick, as the grand announcer for Suncorp Stadium, mate, I'm going to chuck to you to wrap up this, mate, while I go do my thing behind. Take the stage, mate. Wrap this up in
Pressure.
a beautiful bow, Bo.
All right,
Take the
ladies
courage.
and gentlemen, only 1 hour until kickoff. The decider is about to get underway. Caxton Street Brewery, let me hear you make some noise.
New South Wales.
New South Wales, New South Wales, New South Wales, New